Hello everybody, welcome to Bear Beer Reviews. It's been an extremely tough day down in the little brew house, so I thought I'd better treat myself with a little bit of a hot bomb, make myself put a smile on my face hopefully. This is Brave New World by Tempest Brewing Company, which incidentally is where Mark and Alan, two of the fellas at Atom, that's where they both made sure they both worked for Tempest Brewing Company back in the day. You may remember a while ago we had Old Parochial Barrel-aged Imperial Stout, if I remember rightly, which I loved. And hence why I got my job, because I tapped Alan on the shoulder one day when he was walking through the branch of Asda that I was working in at the time, and said to him, I love Tempest Brewing Company, I just had one of their beers. And a few months later, met up with him, had a few drinks, and lo and behold, a few months later, he offered me a job working for him, which is why now I work with Atom in his own little brew house. So, nice little story, backstory to fill you in on who Jack is and where he works. So yeah, Brave New World, massive 7.4% IPA. I haven't done any reading on it, so I don't know what in terms of hoppage or anything there is in here. But small batch, limited release craft beer, brewed and bottled by hand at our Kelso Brewery, just up in the borders of Scotland. Please keep me cool and drink me as fresh as possible. Best before January 15. Don't know when it was brewed, but if you're putting 6 months on a bottle, it should be relatively fresh, this one, I suppose. So I'm using these blooming horrible, but apparently specially crafted for IPA glasses. I always seem to get a massive head on my beers when I do this, but with this one we seem to be alright, which is nice, so I can fill it up nice and good. There we go. Right, cool. I don't know what it's meant to do. I wonder if it's something to do with the warmth holding on the bottom and the aroma comes upwards. Don't know. It is a wonderfully dark colour, this one. It's almost chestnutty in terms of colour. Much more a la kind of the IPA we'd produce at Atom. We have a darker coloured IPA as well, not as pale as some of the ones you see. Suggests some kind of malt complexity in there, even if it's just a few different varieties, might be a bit of that. Lovely and crystal clear. The last one I had was bottle conditioned. I'm assuming this one isn't. Nice fluffy little head on it as well, actually, sticking around, nice amount. Just going to lace by the looks of it as well. Pretty cool. So let's get in and get an aroma. Ooh. There's a fair bit of pine in this, along with something a little bit more tropical, like light cheese or something. Quite resiny. A little bit. It smells like kind of like Centennial IPA. I'm not saying it smells like my homebrew, by the way. Yeah, that's probably pushing it a bit, but maybe a Centennial double IPA, and it kind of there's a bit of similarity I'm smelling in this, but with a little bit more tropical mango in it. It's this particular note that Centennial has, this kind of piney, resiny thing that I get. It does smell quite nice. Although I will say the aroma's not pong whiffy, it's not jumping, exploding out of the glass. But at 7.4%, I'm guessing it's relatively well balanced with some malt bases behind it. But who knows, anyway, we'll find out by trying it. Cheers everyone. Okay. Not what I was expecting, if I'm honest. I was expecting a real kind of bombastic American IPA, but this almost kind of reminds me of a little bit weaker barley wine. Not in the 9%, but in the 7.5s. There's a really deep and rich caramel and toffee note. There's a lot of malt in this. There is the complexity that you can see in terms of the colours certainly there in the glass as well. It's got a bit of breadiness, it's got a bit of biscuit, and it's got this sweet caramel and toffee from some of the crystal and I suppose darker crystal malts that have been popped into this. And it's really quite earthy and spicy, particularly spicy, and then it gets a little bit herbal and grassy, very chlorophyllic, kind of leafy almost. It's like the extra trub that was in there. The trub is named for well, I guess the technical phrase, and it doesn't sound technical, for the remaining gunky hoppiness that you get at the end of your brew. It's like that extra green foliage just kind of got into the beer a little bit. I was expecting Brave New World. I was expecting, New World. I was expecting a New World IPA. I might be wrong, it might be an English style IPA because the flavours are kind of more earthy and spicy with a little bit of kind of grassy floraliness. It reminds me more of an English style IPA in the fact that it's quite well balanced. I suggest they want to smell the aroma that there's perhaps Sorry, when I looked at it, and then with the aroma, I was thinking in my head that it would be a little bit more balanced, but I think it's too malty. I'm not entirely blown away by it. What malt flavours there I really do enjoy. It has this, it has that nice complexity to it, and because it's 7.4%, it gets, when you get to this percentage in terms of strength, the flavours seem to get boosted and become more complex. At least in my mind, they do. And this malt flavour it's got this concentration, this lovely note to it. And I just want to wish those hops would zing off it a bit more. It has a lot of basis that you could really punch it with some hops, so you get this sweetness, and as the sweetness dies, you get a burst of hops. But instead, I get this earthiness, and then I'm left with this lingering grassy greenness at the end of it. The spiciness and the earthiness, yes, that works, but give me a bit of tropical hit as well. Give me something else. It's all a bit one-dimensional. Well, you know, it's complex in the malt, but then it's one direction. It's one-directional. A little bit one-dimensional, and it tastes like it's English hops. I just wish there was a little bit of, you know, something zingy off it, some freshy, fruity flavours, some citrus, something like that. So I'm not entirely sold on this one, unfortunately. Maybe someone can tell me. I'm assuming they give a short bottling, a short best before date, because it's an IPA. I don't think they want it sitting around for too long. See, it smells more. It smells more fruity than it does on the palate. You know, it's like the flavour's not there, but it is in the aroma. You know, it's not bottle conditioned. It's not bottle conditioned because it's clear, so there's no yeast in there. Yeah. It certainly isn't unpleasant. It's nice to drink. I like it to some extent, but I was expecting a lot more. Really. So I don't know what to rate it. I guess it's perfectly fine. I quite like it. I'm a little bit disappointed by it, so I'm more inclined to give it something like a 6.5 or a 7. Certainly, you know, I'd have another one, which is usually what I give things that come around the 7 mark, but it doesn't blow me away by any means. So I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's quite good. I just wish it was a bit brighter in the flavour palette. It gets a bit, I guess it's chalky and chlorophyllic towards the end, like it's been there's too much brewer's salt in it or something like that. Yeah, I think that's fair. So yeah, there we go. Give it a 7 out of 10. Certainly not bad, but it could be better. Especially when I've had the old parochial, I really enjoyed that a lot. So yeah, please like, favourite, content, and subscribe. Tell me what you think if you have tried Brave New World or any of the other Tempest beers. Recommend me one. I'm more than willing to try. Also, as a little side note, we might as well finish off on it. This old branding with the, I guess it's a ram's head, like a demonic kind of ram's head or sheep's head of sorts. As you can see, it's changing. It's going to become like a whale tail tea sort of thing, like a tea that's kind of, I can't do it with my fingers. It's a tea that kind of goes like that. If you get me, it's kind of two little, looks like a whale's tail, and the tea's going to be like that, almost like, you see it's got a V shape to it, which to me looks a bit vaginal. Looks kind of like a diagram of a female genitalia from my time doing biomedical science at university. I'm not a huge fan of it, unfortunately, but you know, whatever. It's just the first thing I thought of when I saw it. I was like, what is that? It looks like a diagram of... Anyway, it's my sick and twisted mind. But hey, you never know. Good luck to Tempest. It's not a bad beer. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Recommend some beers for me, guys. Like, favourite, comment and subscribe. Until the next beer review. Cheers, everyone.